Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got a great show in line here today, folks. Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals coming up in just a bit. But first, I want to tell you about a movie I saw this past weekend. And I was so impressed, I wanted to bring the filmmaker on today. The film is called The Man in the White Van. And it's based on a true story that happened in the 70s in Florida. In fact, in an area where my in-laws live, believe it or not, which creeped me out even more. The premise of the film happens in 1975 Florida. It happens with a series of violent disappearances that go unnoticed. And there's a young girl by the name of Annie who starts seeing a white van that's following her around. It was written and directed by my guest today, Warren Skeels. And I want to bring him in right away because we have limited time with him today. And I want to start to talk a little bit about the setup to this film. And first of all, how he starts to transport us back to the 70s, because it is an innocent time and it's a hard era to capture. So ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in to True Crime Tuesday, Warren Skeels. Warren, thank you so much for joining us today on True Crime Tuesday.
Thank you so much for having me, Tim. This is a subject I enjoy talking about.
First of all, I want to start by maybe setting up proper expectations for this film, because when people start watching this film, it does have a very, the feel of the film may feel like a horror film, but it's not, is it?
No, I mean, really, when there's like the genre of like horror, and then there's, kind of the subgenre within that could be slasher or gore or, supernatural, but this is really a thriller. It doesn't have any supernatural elements in it. It's really about this one girl's, extraordinary experience going through this incredible ultimatum and cat and mouse chase with this would-be serial killer that she didn't know was a serial killer at the time. So, and being able to come out on the other end of it, which, spoiler alert, it is a survivor story. And I think that that's a big part of it. It's inspirational. So, an audience can go to it. It's there's a serial killer story here, but an audience can go and enjoy the inspirational aspects of it, of a survivor, finding her way and fighting through it.
And there's some very rich characters in this movie, very rich development in this movie. You've got some very good actors in this movie. Ali Larter, Seanastin are both in this movie and do very good jobs in this movie. What I love about this picture that you put together is not only based on true events, but you've developed this movie in a way that I think people get lost in it right away. I know I got lost in it right away. I sit down, I go to watch it right away, and boom, you're in it right away. I mean, without giving it too much away, you've established action right away in this movie, and you draw people in right away. It's not that you have to wait too long for something to happen. And I think that's why people might be confused as to when they first go to watch this, is this horror or is this really a true crime type movie? Because it does move quite quickly, doesn't it?
It does. We really wanted to bring Sharon, who co-wrote the script with me. We really wanted to, capture the audience's attention right from the get-go and show them, what they eventually would be in store for with, our heroine. And that opening scene, it's like it's a fun cold opening with Deborah Ann Wall from True Blood legacy, right? And I mean, she's an incredible actress. And Daredevil, which I know they're bringing back, and I mean, she's just an incredible actress, number one. And just to be able to have her come in and do that 3-minute scene to open the film, I thought, okay, this is going to set the stage for the expectations for the rest of the film, and really establishing the thriller component of it. Which then, allowed us, it was really important for me as a writer and director to allow us the breathing room to bring the audience into the world of Annie Williams, and establish the family dynamic between her and her sister, the coming of age story of her being on the precipice of becoming a young woman, but the tomboy self of her was still wanting, not ready to give up being a kid. And, kind of caught between these two worlds, there's this ominous white van that starts appearing outside of her school and starts following her home from school and, ultimately ends up at her house, stalking her. And, we wanted to be able to like let that 70s time period sort of seep into the audience and get them settled there and invested in Annie and her world before we, sort of snatch it away, that the innocence.
Now, Warren, there was an interesting conundrum that came up, at least in my mind, as I'm watching this film, and that's this. Now, keep in mind, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, and I remember that time of innocence very well. It to me, and you brought me right back to that time, and I think Ali Larter did a very good job as the mother in the
Oh my
beginning.
gosh, Ali Larter. I mean, gosh, she is such a beloved actress.
Mhm.
I mean, I've adored her over the years and pretty much everything she's in, from Final Destination, Resident Evil, Legally Blonde, The Rookie, Heroes. Uh, what was that film? Obsessed with
Yeah,
that she played opposite Idris Elba. I mean, she is a wickedly talented actress,
yeah,
um, and she's not only that, but she's absolutely stunning. So when she walks on set, I mean, she carries a presence with her, and it can be a little intimidating. I'm not going to lie. Um, but as soon as you start getting into the work with her, and she's just so professional, and she came on board as an executive producer on the project, on the film, to make sure that this story was told, and that was really humbling for me, and just to have her kind of, put her name, behind it and, get out there and then, lending her talents to the film as well. And I mean, she really is just, she's great in the film, but, it's just Dolly Larter, right? She's
right.
great herself. And, she was a big part of us, dedicating the film to NCMEC, which is the National Center Missing and Exploited Children. So, there's a heart angle to it as well. And, I can't thank her enough for being a part of it.
Absolutely. She does a brilliant job of portraying what I think a parent in the 70s it was exactly like. I mean, it was that generation that might have been baby boomer or maybe a step below that, that was like they have one foot firmly in denial,
Mhm.
another foot that maybe, sure, I want to protect my child, but you know what? It's kind of fly, be free. I was free as well. You know what? Go out there. And although you want to enjoy life, I'm going to protect you as well. But at the same time, they were overprotective, but at the same time, you know what? Nothing's going to happen to you. I have the all confidences that I'm not only am I watching after you, but the neighbors are watching after you, and nothing's going to happen to you, right?
Sure. I mean, like the 70s and going into the 80s. I was born in 75. I'm more of an 80s kid, but the 70s going into the 80s, that was the generation of, you get kicked out of the house in the morning and
Yep.
you drink out of water hoses when you're, thirsty. And, you knew to come home when the lights, the street lights started kicking in. And we didn't have cell phones, but, occasionally if there was a major change of plans, it was usually, hey, I'm going to stay the night at Timmy's house. And you'd call from the landline in the house back to the parents. Otherwise, they just knew you were out having fun being a kid and never really worried about you. At least, they didn't about me. And I think for Ali and Sean, one of the things that we really talked a lot about during pre-production was just getting them dialed into being a parent of the 70s and not a child of the 70s.
Yeah.
Because for them and for myself as contemporary parents, living in the modern world, we have Life 360 apps that tell us where our children are at all times. We have mass media, social media constantly flooding us with the dangers of the world and telling us that, we're all going to, be murdered or stabbed or, dismembered if we walk outside our house and go to the grocery store. And that's the world we live in as contemporary parents. So to dial it back in the 70s where, I had to get their mindset to pull that out of them so that that wasn't a part of their thinking. And for Ali Larter's character, for the mom, she grew up in that town. they live in her grandparents' house. It's a well-to-do family in the area. Everybody knows everybody. There's that Southern pride and pride in the family and being safe and being in a secure, area that the thought never really penetrates her mind or her husband's mind that there's really any danger to be had. Any real danger is going to be at some big city, like New York or Chicago,
Right.
but in rural Southern Florida, no, that it doesn't even creep into their mind. So when their daughter, who admittedly, in talking with the real Annie in real life, was prone to exaggeration and telling tall tales, it kind of made those decisions about what they believe and don't believe and how far they're going to believe her, a kind of an ongoing task for them. So, her pleads, was a little bit of a girl who cried wolf story, involved in the fabric of the film as well.
It spoke a lot to the job that Ali did. Whereas there's one line in the movie that she kind of puts her arms around Annie and she says, "Oh, honey, you're just seeing things," or "Oh, honey, you're just imagining things." And the chill that I get down my spine as I see this, I go, "Oh no, 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 no!" And it was one of those things where I could just transport myself back to childhood, and I could transport myself back into Annie's shoes,
Hmm.
and just
And the mom is actually more concerned with practical dangers. And,
right,
she's worried about Annie falling off the horse and injuring herself. Like that to her is her concern. She's not
right,
concerned about some vehicle on the street that, that in her mind is probably just the telephone installer who came by their house already to install something. And, it never even crosses her mind. Um,
yeah. And it to me, it brought me right back to that time, and I thought to myself, never in a million years in these days would a parent would that be their first thought, right?
oh yeah,
The
no, not
first
at
thing would
all.
be to believe the child and check out the immediate danger. But
Well, it's because of the 70s and the 80s that we have these, helicopter parents now, and why we've created all these different apps to lock down and know where our children are at all hours. Um, and why, the media is found, oh, it's if we flag these things, if we talk about them, if we sensationalize the dangers in society, our ratings go up, and so there's an economic reason to support all of that, and then the impact is that we just sort of live in this kind of state of fear in contemporary culture that the 70s, let's face it, was ignorance is bliss, right?
right, right. So Warren, I have to ask you this just off topic for a moment. Do you believe that there were probably more missing and exploited children when we were younger than
Oh,
there are now? And how much by far do you think there were?
I think there were many more. I mean, even this particular case, flipping switches from the story of the film and about Annie, as a survivor and a victim, and the victims that were in this film. But with Billy Mansfield Jr., they have open cold cases and trying to determine and locate, bodies, and they're still trying to identify one of the victims on the Weeki Wachee property in Florida. They were, I mean, through forensic anthropology and the great work of Dr. Aaron Kimmerly at a USF and the cold case detective George Lloydgren from Hernando County. They were able to identify one of the female victims from the property after 45 years this past year, and they were able to pull DNA, and they got it like an ancestry.com match or the like. And so they reached out to a woman in Boca Raton, Florida, and asked her if she had, ever had a family member go missing. And she said she did. She said her 16-year-old sister, Teresa Fillingham, went out for a job interview in Tampa from a hotel they were staying at, and she never returned. And when she went to the Tampa police to say she was missing, they asked her if she'd ever run away before. And she had to admit that she had run away for about a week or so. And so the Tampa police never processed a missing person report for Teresa. So cut to 3 months later, they are looking for a missing person in Sandra Jean Graham who disappeared from a Tampa bar. And when they're on the property and they dig up and they find these bodies, they find Sandra Jean Graham and they stop digging after four bodies. But one of the two bodies was Teresa, but nobody was looking for her. And because of that, she went unidentified for over 45 years. And both, the sad thing is, our parents looked for her for probably their rest of their adult lives, and they passed away not knowing whatever happened to her, but probably thinking something bad happened. And for her sister in Boca Raton, there's closure for her, and especially because she thought there was a possibility that her sister just left, like she didn't love her sister anymore or something along those lines. So I think for her to find closure was finding closure doesn't always mean finding happiness, and I think just being able to know what happened to her and being able to give a name to that Jane Doe is critically important, in just, being able to not forget these victims.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. The movie is an amazing movie, folks. I encourage you to see it. The Man in the White Van is the name of the movie. We'll have a link in the description of this program with proper information for you to see it. It's only in theaters December 13th.
Oh no, it's actually that's a misnomer. It opens in theaters Friday the 13th, but it's in theaters. It's part of AMC's Chills and Thrills, and it'll be in nationwide.
Oh, nationwide. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there you go. So it's in theaters December 13th, correct?
Yep.
All
This Friday the 13th.
It's Friday the 13th. All right. So the 13th is when you can see it, folks. And we'll have the proper links so you can check that out. When we come back, more with Warren Skeels, and we'll talk a little bit about Annie, and maybe some parallels real quick between the real life Annie and Annie on the screen. And we'll talk a little bit about Annie's family as well, and what and the dynamic of Annie's family when we come back. Warren Skeels is our guest. He's the writer director of The Man in the White Van. When we come back right here on True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Warren Skeels. He's the writer and director of The Man in the White Van, which is in theaters on Friday the 13th. When we left you, we were talking about Annie, who is the subject of The Man in the White Van. She's the girl who's being pursued by the Man in the White Van, who we later find out in the movie, small spoiler alert, was responsible for more than just pursuing Annie,
Mm.
pursuing much more than Annie in this movie. Um, if I can go so far as to say, Warren, the others that he's pursuing, you get a small look at. Can I say that much?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a nod to, I mean, look, these are real events that happened, and it was important that we gave a nod to the actual victims. Um, we didn't get into names of survivors, but real names of the survivors. But for the victims, it was important that we gave a nod to them, in the film. So we did that, and after, ironically, during the filmmaking process, Sharon and I had reached out to law enforcement in Hernando County, and it was it took a while for them to get back to us, and so because we weren't really trying to tell the story of the serial killer, and we had a lot of the source information to tell the story of our protagonist, and since that was our point of view, we were kind of good with what we needed to make the film and tell that story. But it was interesting when we finished post-production, I should say. A guy who was volunteering with the cold case detective George Lorigren asked if I wanted to meet with them, and chat about things. And I said, sure, why not? Whatever. I mean, it's not going to impact the film now, but let's talk. And so I went to Hernando County, and I sat down with them, and they just kind of unpacked, like, just a lot of information about a lot of the kind of workings of Billy Mansfield Jr. And I was able to see that there were many more other Annies out there, that had different, had different things kind of happen where they were, like there was this one girl who had hitched a ride back to, to go up to Ohio off of I-75, and she and her friend, and they ended up being taken to the Weeki Wachee property and, accosted there. And in the middle of the night, one of the Mansfield brothers came and let them out of this green bus that they had been locked into, and was just told them, you guys, you got to go now. You got to run. And so they did. And on foot, they just ran through the woods, ran through the sandy rural area, got to a gas station and hitched a ride and got out of there. But he said, if you don't leave now, he's going to kill you. And that to me is interesting because as a firsthand account story, and I have the audio of it, it details the fact that, at least one of the brothers knew that would be an outcome. And that sort of, shade adds another level of shading to all of this in terms of when you have other brothers and family members who know that this is happening and ongoing. It's sort of, sort of bears the question of, was there other involvement? And I think that's sort of why it is we portray the man in the white van in the film the way we do, and there is an allusion, or an alluding to, potentially, somebody else involved.
So it is a very mysterious ending. We'll put it that way. With no one, I won't spoil anything on the ending. I want people to see it for themselves. But in real life, are there suspects named?
There are no suspects named in real life. It's just there are, and look, two of the brothers have passed away.
Okay.
And and one of the brothers, Gary Mansfield, he's, I think he recently got out of prison for narcotics charges, and he's 68, 69 years old, I think, living in the area still. But he himself was arrested in California with Billy in 1980 when he fled Florida after, a false imprisonment and sexual battery charge, and ended up in California. And he was arrested with Billy in the murder of Renee Sailing.
Oh.
But he pled state's evidence against his brother and was immune to charges.
Okay.
So, and, when you take that information, and then you take the information that their father himself was incarcerated in Michigan before Florida for crimes against minors, and then in Florida was found guilty of over 40 sexual assault charges against minors, and served 10 of a 30-year prison sentence in Florida for those charges. So there was a lot of gnarly things happening within the males in that family.
I see what you're saying. I get what you're putting down there. Okay. Switching gears a little bit here. Let's draw some parallels here, because that brings up the question with everything that both in real life and in the movie that's happened, as far as people that have befallen either the man in the white van or the people in real life, the killers in real life. What made Annie so strong, both the movie version and the real version, that she was the one that got away?
Well, I think in casting the film and finding Madisonwolfe to play Annie, that was sort of our true north, was finding the actress who was really going to capture Annie, and somebody who was, she was a tomboy in real life, and she had a sense of physicality and about her, and a sense of fight and ability. And I think that was sort of critical in finding that aspect of in Annie, to find somebody who might stand up, not just verbally, but you could see that she would stand up physically if need be. Um, and whether or not she was actually going to be able to, take on the man and she's not going to win in a fist fight, but she wasn't going to go down without a fight, so to speak. And she absolutely was going to fight to survive. And I think that was kind of critically important in her life, but also portraying, in the film. And I should note that Annie Williams' story, as the fictional story in the film that's based on a true story, her story is actually 80% one woman's story and then 20% another victim's story. So we pieced that together for the whole fictional Annie storyline.
Excellent. Good, good, good. I want to talk a little bit about the fictional Annie's family and the characters that you've surrounded her with, because it's an interesting dynamic as well. Tell me a little bit about her family and not just, well, let's start with her mom and dad and the dynamic there, and then let's go to her siblings, because it's really an interesting dynamic you've built here.
Yeah, what attracted me to the film in the first place were a lot of the family dynamics, really. And her dynamic with the parents of, kind of a girl who cried wolf story was interesting to me. And, the real Annie, said, she was like, admittedly, like, she was like, you know, I would tell tall tales and, I exaggerate. And she never really understood why she did it. And maybe it was because her older sister was such a force in the family and taking so much attention. Um, but I just got a sense that she sort of just like enjoyed it, just kind of like, had fun with it. But there's another side to that, which is, your word is less believed when you're always, telling tall tales. Um, so I really enjoyed that kind of admitted aspect of her life. And then her sister story with Margaret, played by Brecbassinger, who she's just fabulous. She's so good. And I just love the dynamic of the older sister, who was much more feminine. She was, kind of becoming, a debutante, and loved fashion. And that was something that Breck really got into, because she's kind of a fashionista in her own right. So she immediately sort of like gravitated to that, and Tiger Curran and, together, the costume designer did a fabulous job sort of, bringing that aspect of Margaret out. But wanting to, bring her sister sort of into her world, and Annie being so kind of reluctant to cross that barrier of, being the tomboy and a kid into, okay, in order to do these female things, like, it's going to mean like she's opening herself up into becoming a young woman. And, she just wasn't ready to experience it the way her older sister was. And so that dynamic to me was just kind of an interesting, opposites to play with. And then of course the back and forth that then stems out of it, because, they can aggravate each other so quickly.
Mm-hmm. I love the dynamic too between Annie and her little brother as well. I think that's also a very touching, warm dynamic between the two of them. And it's kind of just when you think she's frustrated with life type thing, she's got the one person that still kind of believes in her dynamic. I think that's also a nice little dynamic to fall back on as well.
Yeah, no, it is. And I Madison Wolfe herself is an actress that, I mean, first off, I think she is going to have a huge career. She is a star in every way. She's already proven she can carry a film with, I Kill Giants or Conjuring 2. I mean, as a 13-year-old playing an 11-year-old British gal, I mean, she can do it. She can carry a film, and she's so grounded and calm and present when she is, working, and she really wants to, invest in the character and invest in whatever this story is and whatever the demands of that character are. And so she's really game to just jump in and try to tell a story as best as she can with, her little puzzle piece of it. And for a director, it's great because it's what you need. You need to be able to have someone who can perform in the role and also know what it means to sort of, be the glue of the whole thing together. And, both on camera, she's, super talented, but off camera, she was, always around and helping out and asking, what can she do? And, how we can make things better. And do we want to work on something, or, can I go, really, she wanted to go horseback riding. Really, can I go rehearse the horseback riding again? She was loving sort of, she used to ride horseback, so she was loving being able to kind of get back in that again. So I think that was kind of special for her as well.
Right, right. One more here for you here, Warren. In closing, at the end of the movie, you had mentioned it just briefly before. There's a tribute at the end of the movie, and a little bit of maybe I'm not putting it correctly, but you talked about an organization for missing children. There's a bit at the end of the movie where you're recognizing not only some names, but you're also you're talking about other missing children and a missing children organization at the end of the movie. And there's a bit at the end of the movie in the credits where there's a bit of a tribute song, and there's some other things going on there. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is at the end of the movie?
Well, it was just important, Ali Larter and myself and the producers just wanted to be able to dedicate this particular film to, to an organization like NCMEC, who just does extraordinary work finding, locating, and keeping the light on for missing and exploited children. And so we dedicated the film to them. And Barry Coughing, who is our music supervisor, an incredible songwriter as well, wanted to write a song for the organization. So Legion M has about 6,000 names at the very, very end of the rolling credits. And, he kind of came up with the idea of like, what if we, play that song? And we had some video of the making of the song and everything. And, they kind of rolled it along and played with, all the Legion M investors, who participated in the film. So that's kind of how that kind of came to be. And I think it's neat to be, to be a part of a film that it's a thriller, and be clear, this is an entertainment product.
Oh yeah.
But but it's also nice to kind of point the direction to an organization who does some pretty extraordinary work.
I thought it was a very nice touch at the end of the movie, to be honest with you, because I mean, in the end, you are recognizing that there's a survivor of this very real serial killer that took some very real lives, and in the end, you are recognizing that there's still people out there that are out there and missing, and I mean, the mission never stops, right?
It doesn't. And there's another organization based in Jacksonville, Project Cold Case, and Ryan Bachman there worked with Detective Ray Reeves with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and together they were able to identify Billy Mansfield Jr. as a suspect in a murder from 1980. And it's actually someone who Sharon and I thought was possibly a victim, and we gave a nod to her in the film. It's the girl up by the pool. It goes back to her motel room to get a lighter.
Yep.
At the time of making the film, we were just giving a nod to her as a possible victim, and just this past March, Ray Reeves sat down with Billy Mansfield Jr. in California prison, and Billy Mansfield Jr. admitted and confessed to the murder of Carol Ann Barrett. And, that's in large part to an organization like Project Cold Case, advocating for, the families, victims' families, and just trying to, keep that out there. And to JSO's credit, Ray Reeves and their whole team, put it together. And I think there's some help from Hernando County and George Lorigan down there. But anytime, they can close a case and find closure, it helps somebody just, pack that away.
That's
and not forget them as well.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Well, folks, I encourage you to see the movie. The Man in the White Van opens in theaters on Friday the 13th, and we'll have a link so you can go figure out where it plays near you. We want you to go see this movie. It's absolutely wonderful. It was a great movie, a thriller from beginning to end, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I want you to go see it as well and go enjoy it as well. Warren Skeels, I want to thank you so much for being with us here on True Crime Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate it so much.
All right. Thank you, folks. It's time for us to lighten things up a little bit. It's time now for us to bring in Jessicafreeburg. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time you've all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, we need a co-hostess. So I did this. I reached across the Indian Ocean. I believe it's the Indian Ocean. I'm not quite sure anymore. I went to the Hindustan Times. I said to them, listen, I need somebody I can use for a co-hostess this week. They said, perfect, because we have someone who's been charting now for almost a month straight with 3 different books. We know for a fact that she's going to be made into a Bollywood movie because we've now one of her books is going to be a Bollywood movie. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen. She's intelligent, she's witty, she's funny, and by gosh, she's easy on the eyes. And she has a movie review on top of it today. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Jessicafreeburg. Hi, Jess.
Hey, yeah, you never know where I'm going to be, Tim. Understand? You don't know. You don't know. I'm a world traveler.
If any of your books had to be made into a Bollywood movie, which one would it be?
Oh man, it'd probably have to be Piper, right? The Pied Piper book with the,
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see Magdalena, that main character, getting all Bollywood on us,
Yeah.
doing her little shimmy shake.
Well, yeah, the shimmy shake, and you have to break out into music every 5 minutes. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we went to a party at our neighbor's house. They're from India, and they had such a fun party one night, and they made us all dance. Like that was part of the party, like individually as couples, we had to like go and do like basically Bollywood like Indian dancing, and they were filming it, and they were like and they were like forcing the shots on everyone. I'm like, I don't even really drink, but
nice.
yeah, I felt like I was in Bollywood though. I even got like the little dot on my forehead. I was
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, you were into it.
I was into it.
Nice. Well, hey, why not? Like they say,
Speaking of Bollywood,
when in Bollywood, do the Bolly. I don't know what that means.
that's right. That one time I was a Bollywood girl.
That's right. Well, there you go. You're a star. You're a star, kid. Speaking of,
That's what you tell me, Tim. That's what you keep telling me.
that's what I keep. See, it's visualization. It's you put it out there, you put it in the universe, and it comes right back to you.
I believe it.
There you go. So now that I've said that one of your books is going to become a Bollywood movie, it's going to happen.
Yeah, probably better that than a Hallmark movie. I want to like them. I do. I hope he dies in them.
Have you actually sat down and tried watching them? I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch them with my girls. But I don't know. I'm not into
Aren't they all the
rom-coms
same?
or romantic.
Aren't they all the same?
They are. They literally are the same,
Yeah.
which makes me a little jealous of them because basically it's just the same story that someone's writing over and over again and just getting paid buku bucks for.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the actors are all making buku bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a former '80s child actor, you probably are making a ton of money right now on a Hallmark.
You're golden. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wish I was a former child actor of the '80s. I'd be making a ton of money right now.
If I was, I would be the one that went wrong.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Be the one that like just her life went off the rails.
I totally would be Urkel right now. Just saying. Yeah.
Oh, whatever happened to that guy?
Jaleel White is actually he's hosting a game show right now, but I couldn't tell you what the name of the game show is or what it is. I happened to see him on Entertainment Tonight about a week ago.
That's pretty cool though.
He's talking about my life has been successful, and I'm like, it has been. 'Cause I didn't see you for like 30 years, pal. And
Hey, if he's happy, right?
I guess. He acts like it. But then he was talking smack about Carl.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's not cool.
No, you want to talk about, like dumb, dumb actors, stupid sitcoms. I mean, we could do that whole deal too. But I mean, just for a brief moment here, we could take a sidebar. I mean, he was talking smack about the cast.
Hmm,
He was talking smack
that's not
about,
very nice.
because didn't they have two different moms? Or
Yes, I
yeah,
think they did. I think you're right.
yeah, they had the one that came in for a short period, and he talked smack about her, and then he talked smack about the one. I guess one of the moms was late all the time or something like that.
Oh,
And he wrote a book. He wrote a book trashing everyone.
wow. Did it like hit the bestseller list? I mean, that's the kind of stuff people love.
I I don't know. I mean, would you buy a book by Urkel trashing the cast of Family Matters?
I would not, but people out there would. You know it.
Yeah.
Not you and I, not our people. Probably
Right.
not anyone listening to this show.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Uh, hmm, uh,
Mm,
hmm, hmm. But yeah, there's that. So good times. Just say good
yeah.
times. Yeah, good times. Uh, yeah, but I guess we can bring this back around to movie reviews. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know how we landed on Urkel. In
I
my
don't
brain, I'm
know.
sitting here trying to like remap our pathway. Like, how did we get here?
I don't know, but we
But yeah, movie reviews.
yeah, we were teasing last week on social media that we went and saw Nosferatu.
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 It was so good.
Yeah, it was. This, by the way, if in case you're not 100 years old and saw the original in theaters, um, came out in the theaters about 100 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah, like 1922 or something.
yeah, it was 1922. Yeah,
Yeah, Prohibition time, right? Was that Prohibition back then?
yeah, you couldn't buy a drink at a bar, but you could go see Nosferatu in theaters. You could see good
Yeah.
old Count Orlok in the theaters the first time around. But yeah, plenty of generations stayed up late at night, yours included, yours truly, and watched Timothy D. Kerr on Channel 5 and got to see the original black and white silent film.
So creepy.
Yeah. And it was kind of a lark after a while because it was just kind of weird. Uh, Watched it at midnight on TV, um, but it did have its scariness, its charm. The original, I remember. As I told a few people I was going to go screen it, and that the new version, if you watch the trailer, had a very creepy scariness to itself. That the trailer itself looked very creepy.
Yeah, the trailer was good.
Yeah,
It makes you want to watch it. So if you haven't watched the trailer yet, guys, watch it.
yeah, yeah, and there's twists even beyond the trailer. The trailer itself, you're like, it makes you want to see it. And what's interesting is, I think it's safe to say this. We're going to try and do a spoiler-free review of this movie here, Jess. That with this movie, they find ways to throw twists in that you don't even see in the trailer. So you don't even get the full scope of the movie by watching the trailer. A lot of times they try to give you a good scope of the plot of the movie inside the trailer, but they don't even do that.
Yeah, they just let you know it's going to be dark and creepy.
Yep. And that
And
there's
it definitely delivers on those fronts.
yeah, yeah, but they really do a good job of fleshing out this film. Now, I'll tell you this much. If you go to IMDb, there are fake images of what the monster looks like.
Hmm.
It's not exactly what the modern day monster looks like, which, by the way, I am a huge fan of Bill Skarsgård and everything he's done. Of course, he played Pennywise, the clown, in
Yeah.
in It, and he's played some other things under makeup as well. Robert Eggers is the writer of this movie, along with Henrik Galeen. Both of them did excellent jobs of reimagining this story. But the basic idea, for lack of a better term, and we'll try to do this again without spoilers, is that this count, and they don't use the words Transylvania, they just use the words in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Has decided he wants to come over to, I believe it's England, isn't it? Do they use the words England?
I felt like there was like a little subscript that said Germany, but they were speaking English. So
Yeah, they were
maybe
speaking proper English, but maybe it was Germany.
maybe you just roofied my popcorn and I was like,
I
oh,
think I might have
confused.
roofied your popcorn. Yeah, I think I did. But he wants to come further inland to Europe and move away from this backwards area in Eastern Europe. So he decides to lure a real estate agency to his castle, for lack of a better term, and get him to move further west. But it's all a
Yes.
ruse. It's a ruse because the agent that he lures to his castle, he's been trying to seduce this man's betrothed. It's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
He's been trying to seduce this woman since she was a child. I mean, she wasn't much more than just a child at the time. I think she
looked like a teenager. It starts very sexually. I mean, it starts with sex and it ends with sex.
Yeah, it does.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
Like, why are vampire movies all so sexual? This one was, that on steroids, I think. But yeah, I mean, it was well done and it was good and appropriate and it made a lot of sense. And it pulled you in a different way. Just you could feel the emotions of all of it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of emotion in it.
Yeah, it is one of those stories that, well, we'll put it this way. Again, it is rated R. I'll put it this way. It's not one you want to take the kids to. There is some blood, although not as much gore as I thought there would be.
No, I think the element would be the sexual part of it.
Yeah.
Like that is very graphic. So like I kind of joked like this is our new Christmas movie, like Ralphie Who.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of Christmas.
But,
yeah, a lot of Christmas theme to it. It's the new Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens during Christmas time.
Yep.
So yeah, just like Die Hard, it's obviously a Christmas movie.
Right. And they found different ways to expand the vampire's powers, which I'll leave that as to be spoiler free. I'll leave that alone. But I'll put it this way. It's pretty brilliant how Robert Eggers did it.
Yeah, we talked about this, and I hate to be so like, non-transparent about what we're talking about, but that was one of my favorite elements of the whole movie, the way that they intertwined something very historic into this legend and brought it all together.
Yeah. So they've made him that much more dangerous. You get the typical vampire tropes of what makes him dangerous to begin with, but there's one more thing that makes him extra dangerous, which is incredibly intriguing. It makes him dangerous to the entire society the minute he hits the shores. Was it the Voyage of the Demeter that came out last year that was just the one slice of the Dracula novel that was his voyage from Transylvania to the New World? That
one I didn't see. I don't know.
I think if I remember right from talking to Mr. Stoker on the air here, I think that was from that little bit of Bram Stoker's novel. They made a movie out of that, was it a year or two ago? but they found a way to tie that into Count Orlok as well. And that if you remember that little piece of the movie,
Yeah.
they found a brilliant way to tie that into this as well. So Robert Eggers really did his homework.
Yeah, really, really well written.
Yeah, and managed to tie Bram Stoker in here too. So there's elements all over the place here. And in this movie, I don't think anyone will be disappointed by any means when they go see this. It was extremely well written. It sticks to a lot of different stories that you've seen before, but makes things new again. And the monster is incredibly scary. Which
so creepy.
Yeah, which I think is unusual for today's Hollywood. Normally you see right through it and you go, nah, it doesn't do much for me. But the fact that he stays in shadow most of the time, I think lends to it.
Yeah. And I thought Lily Rose Depp was awesome.
Yes.
I loved her acting. Willem Dafoe brought in just the right level of like comic relief. And it wasn't even really that he was being funny. Sometimes it was just the way he delivered lines. But I think like the best horror movies are the ones that give you just a few moments in there where you kind of like can't help but laugh because they're hitting on all the emotions.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe comes in as Professor Albin Eberhard von Franz, who is he's a professor who's called in by an investigator to help figure out what's going on. He's a professor of the occult who's brought in by another professor by a doctor and a professor who are trying to figure out what exactly is going on with Lily Depp's character. Lily Depp's character is Ellen Hutter. And then Thomas Hutter is played by Nicholas Hoult, who you may know as the Beast from the X-Men movies. He was also in that other vampire movie with Nicolas Cage recently.
Oh.
Yeah. And then another actor in this movie, Friedrich Harding, the man who is the friend of Thomas Hutter at the real estate agency, the man who takes them in. Aaron Taylor Johnson also is going to be in another movie, Kraven the Hunter, which is a Spider-Man villain, which comes out next week. Which actually, I'm going to go see that movie tomorrow night.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's all over the place lately. He's been in like 3 different Marvel movies, and he's kind of the flavor of the week, I guess. Or flavor.
Yeah, this is a great cast. I mean, just really superb.
Yeah, and great actors all the way around. Excellent acting, excellent special effects. I mean, it's just all the way around great. So, okay, out of 5 stars, we've probably prolonged this long enough. What do you give it?
Oh, for sure, 5 stars. I loved it so much. I would definitely love to watch it again just to see the stuff that I missed because there's so much going on.
I'll pull up just short of 5 stars. I'll go probably 4 3/4 out of 5. The only thing I thought was wrong with it, believe it or not, I thought it dragged just a little bit in certain spots.
Okay.
It could have been a little more succinct. Could have been a little tidier. But other than that, I thought it was almost a perfect movie. I thought it was darn near perfect. So again, it's not the movie you want to bring the kids to, but by gosh, it's just a little graphic in the sexual area as far as, that's the only reason.
Yeah, and really, even my older kids who would probably think it's a cool movie wouldn't want to watch it with me.
Right. You don't want, it's not one you want
because of that.
Right. If you're an adult kid, you don't want to take mom to go see it. Put it that way. Like if mom wants to go see it, encourage her to go see it at a matinee by herself.
Yeah, but it's good. It's definitely worth seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those embarrassing ones. Moms and dads and kids shouldn't go see together. Just put it that way. But I really do think it's this generation's Interview with a Vampire. Would you say that?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say. Really. Yeah. It's a classic. It's going to be a classic.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's probably why they picked, not only because of the Christmas theme, but I think that's why they picked this time of year to release it, because I think it probably does have some Oscar consideration, if not for the makeup, but maybe for some of the roles might get nominated for Oscars.
Yeah, and I just think nothing says happy birthday, baby Jesus quite like a sexually charged vampire movie.
That's
So,
right. Happy birthday, Jesus. Here's a vampire running amok. Why not? Right? There was somebody else had a joke about that too. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty good. I'll think of it. And I'll tell it to you before Christmas. But it was pretty darn good. It's very sacrilegious, but very good. We got a lot of stories to get through here today, Jess. Let's get to them.
all right.
Our first one has to do with a Wisconsin man. By the way, we got plenty of stories from you guys as well. And want to say thank you to Tony, to Tom. I'm trying to think who else sent in stories today. We probably had 3 or 4 people who sent stories today. So thank you so much. If I forgot, Brandon sent a story. I'll remember. I will remember as we get into the stories here. But thank you so much, everybody who sent stories today. A Wisconsin man caught driving without headlights surrenders with cocaine and half a pitcher full of beer.
Whoa, he was having a party.
Well, it's important, especially in Wisconsin, if you're getting pulled over, to make sure you have your drug paraphernalia and your liquor present.
Yes.
Make it easier for the officer. Yeah, as you're getting pulled over. We go to McFarland, Wisconsin, where a 40-year-old Wisconsin man was arrested after being pulled over for driving without headlights. It's probably the other thing you want as you're tootling along Wisconsin highways. Make sure your lights are on.
Yeah, nothing says pull me over, please, quite like not having your headlights on.
Yeah, like, driving in the dark without anything. He surrendered to police before they made contact and was found with cocaine and half a full pitcher of beer from a local bar.
Oh, he just took it to go.
Yeah, it was a to-go container, except for he didn't have a lid for it, I'm sure. He probably just was swilling right out of the deal.
Wow.
Never done the to-go pitcher from the bar before?
I have not, Tim.
No? Neither have I. I'm not going to lie, neither have I. To-go pint back in the radio days, once or twice. But
Yeah,
but it was a short drive home. I won't say what year that was, but I'll never do it again. I swear. I got away with it.
live and learn.
Yep. According to the McFarland Police Department, shortly after 1:45 a.m. on Thursday, November 28th. Oh, happy Thanksgiving. It was the Thanksgiving Coke and beer binge. Yeah. An officer saw a vehicle driving on Broadhead Street without its lights on. During the traffic stop, the driver exited the vehicle with his hands raised. So is it the spoonful of Coke like this and the pitcher like this? Is that how you put your hands up?
Either hand, doesn't matter.
You don't want to spill
Hold them high though.
You don't want to spill the Coke. I mean, that's some expensive stuff. The beer, on the other hand, probably.
You don't want to spill either. When you spill the beer, you spill the Coke, and then it sticks to you. It becomes like a paste, right? Water and powder.
Oh, that could work, though. I mean, you could make that work. It's just, you don't want to get the Coke all over the ground because it's hard to differentiate between the line and trying to snort the Coke. I mean,
and then a dog comes along and licks it up, and
I know.
Oh wow!
And the dog is all wiry for the rest of the night. I mean, it's just horrible. The man laid on the ground and told the officer, "You got me." Well, at least he didn't put up a fight, right? With the driver's consent, the officers searched him and found cocaine in his pocket, a pub-style pitcher, half full of beer, reportedly taken from a local bar, was found on the passenger side floorboard. Okay. I'm going to bring up something really gross. I apologize ahead of time. How do you know it's beer?
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
I mean, you could probably smell it.
Well, there is the smell test.
But...
There's also, right?
You're really committed to your job as a police officer. You might want to taste it just to make sure.
Every cop we've ever interviewed on this show, we always said, if you find Coke, do you ever do the rub on the gums thing? They say no, because you'd be high as a kite.
Yeah.
You never rub it on your gums. That's not how you test cocaine. You just take it in, they put it in, they test it at the lab right there they have like little test
Yeah.
strips, right?
They have science for that stuff now,
And they
Tim.
have science for that. They don't rub it on their gums. They don't test it on the tongue. Your tongue would go numb. Your gums would go numb and you'd be high as a kite. You don't do that. Of course not. But I wonder if they test the beer on the floorboard.
I would not.
No, I wouldn't either. Chances are the guy just peed on the way home. That's all it was. Police say a search of the vehicle uncovered about 14 grams of mushrooms and other drug paraphernalia as well.
Wow. This guy was a real party.
Well, he was trying to make a happy Thanksgiving for all, Jess, is what it was. I mean, there are a lot of lonely people on Thanksgiving. So, plus what are you going to stuff the turkey with? Stuffing?
Right.
Field sobriety tests were performed, and the Deerfield man was arrested on his 4th OWI offense. The driver, who was subject to only a 0.02 alcohol concentration restriction, there was more Coke than beer, saying, had a revoked license. He took a chemical breath test and was shown a blood alcohol concentration of 0.11. Wait a minute. He was subject to a 0.02 alcohol concentration restriction. Okay. On his license. Okay. And then he took the chemical test and had a 0.11.
So even if he blows under,
yeah,
it's at that level, it's still over for him because he's been naughty.
That's right. So for most of us, we don't go to jail unless we, it could be a 0.08. If we blow a 0.06, we're fine. But for him, he's restricted because of past offenses. Okay. So he has the 0.02 restriction. Okay. He faces charges of OWI 4th offense, PAC 4th offense, possession of cocaine and possession of a controlled substance or a hallucinogenic. He was booked into the Dane County Jail, where I'm sure he has frequent flyer miles. Police also referred charges of operating while revoked and failing to install an ignition interlock device to the Dane County District Attorney's Office. So he was supposed to also have an interlock device so he could drive his car. Obviously, he got to the bar somehow. So,
right.
My guess is he didn't do that as well. All right, let's move on. A husband who police said, by the way, this is one of our stories from one of our listeners. The last one was as well. A husband said, let me rewind. Husband who police said Googled how long does it take to get married after spouse dies is charged with wife's murder.
Oh, no.
My guess is he might have had somebody on the side. By the way, I have a theory and I can't say it out loud. Have you been following the United Healthcare CEO story?
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah. Now, here's what's okay. I'm going to take another sidebar here. I'm a little disappointed in people this week. I'm not going to lie.
Oh,
The fact that, what is it? 83% of people who have commented on this on different boards have been laughing at the fact that this man lost his life.
oh, disgusting. He had children.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Tim. I've been really disappointed in humanity.
Yeah. It's just, I'm disgusted by that. But okay, now the other thing, Jess, now I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it without saying it. Okay. There's a couple different facts in this case that make you go, Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, who unfortunately was shot down in cold blood, was separated from his wife. They've lived in separate houses for a good amount of time now, right?
Oh, I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. He's lived in separate houses from his wife. If you watch the press conference, which is hard to find now online, it's been scrubbed from online with his wife. His wife said a few quick words. It is the coldest, most statement you've ever seen in your life. It's this. Her head is down and she goes, Brian was a very good father to his children. He'll be missed. Huh?
Yikes.
today, as we're taping, they found the gunman.
You did?
They arrested him. They arrested him in Pennsylvania. Tell me
Is she from Pennsylvania?
I don't know, but tell me he's not a hitman.
I mean,
They're claiming now the story behind this guy and is that he's had a back operation and he has beef with United Healthcare. But it's not hard to go find somebody who's got a beef and hire them.
yeah, but I feel like he probably was making bank anyway, like he was probably taking care of her financially. And what's the motivation?
Motivation? I'll give you motivation. You ready for this?
You don't like him? Yeah.
Ryan Thompson makes $10 million a year, but he has $43 million in stock options.
Oh,
And he's worth much, much more than that. Now, who's to say that Brian didn't maybe find somebody new? And someone was about to lose $43 million in stock options and maybe much, much more than that.
I don't know. I feel like in divorce law, I feel like because they were married so long, because they have older kids, they have one in high school still and another one that maybe graduated.
Remember this, Jess, just in case things go wrong with the mister. Minnesota's a no-fault state.
Right. But there are rules about how much you get based on how long you've been married.
Nope. There's no such
Are
thing
you
as
sure?
There's no such thing as alimony in Minnesota. I come from
I have several friends who are divorced and one had to pay alimony because she makes a lot. And the other one,
the wife works in healthcare. She's a therapist.
yeah.
Yeah. She has her own career. She doesn't get alimony.
Interesting. I don't know. I guess, if you really were kind of over that person and you didn't love them anymore and you weren't with them anymore, you might not have the emotional reaction that people think you should as the wife because you're in your brain, you're already not the wife.
It was pretty darn cold.
I'm just giving her, what's the word I'm looking for?
It wasn't even, I don't expect tears, right? From somebody,
Yeah.
You maybe you had a bad breakup. I get that. But, I mean, just it wasn't even,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, Brian was a good father. It was like,
I
oh,
almost think if you had something to do with it, I feel like you would be more inclined to overact or something, you would want people to not think that you were cold.
No, it came off cold. Now,
Right, which is why I don't think she planned it.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying that there may be one or two eyes cast that direction.
Oh, for sure. I've seen comments to that effect online even.
Yeah. Because I'm just saying that, she's got everything to gain by him being out of the way. Plus, how does this guy from Pennsylvania, who travels 10 days before the event, stay in a hostel, show up 5 minutes before he shows up to this hotel for the meeting and know exactly where he is, know his routine, shows up with a gun, pop, pop, pop. How does he know his routine?
Yeah, there had to have been someone on the inside who gave him heads up about the guy's schedule.
Yeah, gave him the information. There's something about
Interesting.
This that it stinks to high heaven. And it was 6 o'clock in the morning, Jess. And this kid who did this, he stops off at a Starbucks. He gets a couple of power bars and a bottle of water.
Right, and he's just smiling.
Yep, smiling away like nothing's wrong.
You're just about to go kill someone.
Yep.
I hate that video too. I hate that they keep showing the video and right up to the point where he's just about to be shot. And ugh, guts me every time. I don't like it.
And I was watching one, there's a gentleman by the name of John Monahan. He's a former New York City Police Department. I think he was sergeant or detective. and I want to get him on the program because he has his own book. He has a book having to do with a case between New York and Boston. And you want to talk about a smart sergeant. He's even pointing out that the gun that was used, because he was reviewing the footage on the NBC News program with Tom Yamas, and they were going over the footage together. And he said that particular gun, is used by veterinarians to put down animals because it's
wow.
silent. Yeah, because it's silent.
Oh.
He said this was a very meticulously planned killing.
Oh yeah, it was totally a hit.
Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting. It was interesting stuff. It's just interesting stuff. So, okay. I took my sidebar. I just find it a very interesting case. Not just because it affects us locally here in Minnesota, but it was
yeah, her demeanor is off for sure.
Yeah, but it ties a little bit into this case we're about to talk about here. This guy who is completely dumb about it, who actually killed his wife, husband who police said Googled how long does it take to get married after spouse dies, is charged with the wife's murder. This guy slipped. A Virginia man who prosecutors said searched on the internet for how long does it take to get married after a spouse dies is now charged with his wife's murder. Naresh Bhatt faces 3 felony counts: murder, physically defiling a dead body, and concealing a dead body in connection with the disappearance of his 28-year-old wife, Mamta Kafal Bhatt. That according to court records. A grand jury indicted Bhatt on the charges of murder and physically defiling a body on Monday. He initially was arrested and charged with concealing her body in August. Mamta Kafal was last seen on July 31st in Manassas Park, Virginia. Manassas police announced just over a week later. Police suspected she went missing on involuntary circumstances. Prosecutors say that Bhatt used his work laptop to search how long does it take to get married after spouse dies, and what happened to debt with died spouse in April, months before Mamta's disappearance. So he looked up this stuff in April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little premeditation there.
Yep. Her body has not been found, police said at Monday's press conference. Police have obtained more than 40 warrants, subpoenas, search warrants, and court orders over the course of this investigation, and searched over 20 locations over Northern Virginia, according to Chief Mario Lugo. The new charges were filed after blood was found in both the bathroom and bedroom of the Bhatt home, and it was traced back to Mamta Kafal. Authorities believe she was dragged through the rooms. Authorities were called to the couple's home on August 2nd to check on her welfare, police previously had said. When police questioned Bhatt, he claimed that the wife was either in New York or Texas visiting family. He couldn't get that straight. But prosecutors allege that she doesn't have any family in the U.S., so that would be impossible. At the time of the welfare check, he did not yet want to report Mamta as missing. 3 days later, on August 5th, he reported his wife as missing. One day after Mamta was last seen alive on July 30th, prosecutors allege that Bhatt bought 3 knives, according to the outlet. He was later captured on surveillance footage at a different Walmart buying cleaning supplies. I think he's a little guilty.
He's a lot guilty, Tim.
Yeah. Bhatt told WUSA 9 that the last time he saw his wife was July 31st when they shared dinner. She was the one who cooked and do the kitchen stuff. This is a quote from him. "We do not have any specific conversation. We do not have any argument," or something like that, he noted. Or something like that, Jess. He continued, "It was like normal day. We were taking care of our babies." Sure you were. Bhatt's jury trial is scheduled to begin December 9th in Prince William County Circuit Court. A GoFundMe page for Mamta Kafal has raised nearly $245,000. We are reaching out with heavy hearts about the tragic disappearance of Mamta Kafal, a devoted mother to a 1-year-old daughter. Mamta's husband has been arrested and faces serious accusations related to her disappearance, leaving Mamta's daughter without her mother, says the message on the site. All contributions will be put in a dedicated trust for Mamta's daughter. Interesting story. That's for sure. All right. Our next story has to do with a stowaway who flew from New York City to Paris, who also caused a disturbance on the return flight. I don't know if you've seen this story this past week, Jess.
I don't think so.
I actually saw this one on the news as well. I thought this was quite, it's a disturbing story because, technically you shouldn't be able to get through TSA at all.
Right.
Right? It's supposed to be airtight. Shouldn't be able to get through without a ticket or boarding pass. But a woman who snuck onto a Delta Airlines flight from New York City to Paris without a boarding pass last week was removed from a return flight on Saturday after creating a disturbance prior to takeoff. CBS News has confirmed that a stowaway created a disruption on Saturday on Delta flight number 265 bound from Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport to JFK International Airport. She was removed by French law enforcement, causing a delay of more than 2 hours before the flight's eventual departure. She remained in French custody, CBS News learned, and was in Paris as of Tuesday. A person familiar with the matter told CBS News Tuesday that the woman was basically in limbo at Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport. French authorities had escorted her to the plane, but were not traveling with her. She became disruptive while on board, and police were called to remove her. Although her name has not been released by authorities, two people familiar with the matter identified the woman to CBS News Saturday as 57-year-old Svetlana Dali. The woman has a driver's license showing she is a Philadelphia resident. She's in the U.S. on a green card. According to a person familiar who did not immediately know what her native country was, the French Ministry of the Interior identified her as a Russian national. The situation initially unfolded on November 26th. Or get this, Jess. The woman boarded Delta flight number 265 from JFK to Paris without a boarding pass. The flight was not sold out, and she was discovered when a flight attendant became concerned that the woman was making frequent and lengthy visits to various lavatories aboard the Boeing 767-400ER. That, according to a source familiar with the incident. French police came aboard the plane after it landed and took her into custody. At this time, U.S. federal authorities do not plan to charge her with a federal crime. One person familiar with the matter told CBS News she may, however, face state criminal charges in New York, possibly a state count of criminal trespassing. Passenger Rob Jackson, who shot video of French authorities coming onto the plane after it landed in Paris, told CBS News he noticed that the flight attendants were behaving oddly as the flight was descending. I heard them saying, like, we have a passenger who we think was hiding in the lavatory during takeoff, Jackson says. She does not have a seat. She did not have a boarding pass, and basically she's a stowaway. A Transportation Security Administration source told CBS News that the woman went through an advanced imaging technology body scanner at checkpoint in JFK Airport after somehow appearing to evade the document and ID check portion of the TSA process. Her bags were also scanned for prohibited items before she went to the gate and snuck onto the flight. So she went through the body scanner. She got her bags checked. She had no boarding pass.
How?
Well, now, supposedly this was, let's see if it's in the story here, but I also saw a TMZ story about this. Supposedly she stuck close to some of the workers from another airline.
That's just crazy. I mean, like I had a boarding pass and it just had one number wrong on my birth date. And I had to go get I had to go to a whole different line. I'd already been in line for like 30 minutes. And this lady just sneaks in.
Yeah.
That one.
On Tuesday, the TSA confirmed to CBS News that the airport security video showed the woman using a group of passengers to bypass the ID check in JFK Airport and enter the TSA checkpoint. Now, the video showed her using the group to slip past a TSA officer while they were getting their own IDs checked. Now, those passengers, according to TMZ, were actually airport employees. They're actually airline employees. And she just slipped by. She just happened when they were presenting their ID, she happened to just duck past them and get in.
Wow, she's slick.
Yeah. She then went through a body scanner, according to the TSA, but her bag was flagged during screening because it contained 2 bottles of water. She discarded the water and continued to the gate. The video has been reviewed by law enforcement and TSA. A TSA spokesperson previously confirmed the statement that the woman without a boarding pass was physically screened without any prohibited items and then bypassed 2 identity verification and boarding status stations and boarded the aircraft. After getting through TSA security, it's unclear how exactly the woman boarded the plane without showing a boarding pass or passport to Delta staff. So she had to get past the gate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
That is scary.
she had to walk on with actual, I don't know how she does that. Either she walked on with someone who presented a boarding pass or she walked on with actual staff.
Yeah, either way, you think they would notice an extra person.
Yeah, I don't know. French law enforcement and the TSA are separately investigating. The woman could be subject to a civil penalty or fine for bypassing the document check process. So I just found it a really interesting story. And the fact that this person, well, even though she's here on a green card, she's a Russian national, which makes you wonder if she's some sort of weird spy.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's fascinating, though. That's
She's sneaky, like a ninja.
Yeah, like a Russian ninja. Let's go on to our next story. A Georgia mayor is found not guilty of leaving gin in a ditch for inmates to find. So much for drinking on the job when you're in jail, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best kind of boss to have, I guess. We go to Thompson, Georgia, where the mayor of a small Georgia town was found not guilty of leaving alcohol in a ditch for inmates to find while on work detail. Yeah, you take a little swig, you're out
That's
there.
really nice of him.
Yeah, you're out there in the hot sun, you want a little pull, I guess. Thompson Mayor Benjamin Benji Cranford, who is now inmates' best friend, was standing trial for furnishing prohibited items to inmates and attempting to commit a felony. I didn't know it was a felony to give inmates alcohol. I guess it is, huh?
Yeah. Wow. Serious.
After being charged, Governor Brian Kemp suspended Cranford from office pending the outcome of the trial. So he's no longer in office.
Nope, that's a good way to get canned.
I guess. Neither prosecutors nor defense attorneys argued the fact that Cranford bought a bottle of Seagram's extra dry gin that ended up in the ditch. No tonic, though. I mean, nothing to mix it with, right? I mean,
Just straight up. Just a shot.
Yeah. Of all the alcohol you leave in the ditch, I mean, not a bottle of rum or, maybe some whiskey, gin.
Yeah, they'd all be a little icky to me, but
I mean, gin.
It's pretty harsh.
Pine needles. I mean, you could go suck on a pine tree.
Yeah.
It's the same effect.
Vodka would probably be better.
Yeah, vodka would be. Yeah, that's nice and smooth. Yeah. Defense attorneys say it fell out of the car when he was resetting his Bluetooth connection. That's how it ended.
Of course.
Yeah, he didn't mean to do it, Jess.
It was just an oopsie.
Yeah. Who gets out of their car to reset their Bluetooth connection? Come on.
No one.
During the trial, he testified that he didn't remember what happened and that he bought the gin because his friend told him that it would help him prevent getting malaria.
Oh, really? It's medicinal, Tim.
I didn't know you could prevent. First of all, how widespread is malaria in Georgia? Especially this time of year. And gin prevents malaria? I mean, we've had the malaria vaccine for how long now, and shots and all that other stuff, but yet
Different kind of shot, Tim.
yeah. Well, there you go. See? Cranford said he knew no one on the work crew from the Jefferson County Correctional Institution, and he had no reason to buy alcohol for people he didn't know. But, Garrison Douglas, a spokesperson from the governor's office, told WJBF-TV that there are no extra steps necessary for putting someone back in office after they are acquitted. So there you go. Oh, Mayor Cranford. Oh, I'm sorry, ex-Mayor Cranford. There you go. We continue on with the generosity at prison, where a prison guard used pot noodle to smuggle drugs into jail where she worked.
Oh,
Well, you got to put the pot in something. It might as well be pot noodle.
pot noodle. What is a pot noodle?
Pot noodle. You know, pot noodle.
She just made noodles with pot?
Well, no, pot noodle is an Asian dish.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh. A prison guard busted for trying to smuggle a pot noodle concealing cannabis into her workplace has been jailed. 26-year-old Victoria Sked, who was found to be hiding even more contraband on her person after her arrest at HMP Lindholm days before she was due to leave her role there. Police found some Molly on her as well. MDMA, psychoactive substances, more cannabis, vials of steroids, mobile phones, tobacco, and a SIM card.
Holy cow, she was gonna go make some major sales in there.
She's like a personal bodega. She's got everything on her. On her phone, they found pictures of mobile phones, chargers, and Kinder Egg holders, sparking an investigation that saw 10 people sentenced on Friday. The scheme involving Sked, various inmates, and their relatives unraveled that day, but not before they managed to smuggle some Molly, steroids, spice, cannabis, mobile phones, and other prohibited items into the Doncaster prison between August 2018 and July of 2019. To give an idea of the operation scale, a search of Sked's home revealed 7,900 pounds in cash, 12 mobile phones, 332 sheets of spice paper, and cannabis. A police anti-corruption unit then found financial links between Sked and Aisha Martin, whose boyfriend, Simi McGinley, has been locked up at HMP Lindholm. This is overseas. CCTV footage showed Martin visiting Sked's address, where she dropped off packages on 7 separate occasions. Analysis of phones found within the prison implicated inmates Robert Williams and Gareth Roberts in the supply of drugs there. Mr. Roberts' partner, Diane Monks, caught trying to smuggle spice into the prison when she visited in November of 2018. Another inmate and partner pair, Jack McGlenn and Alicia Harrison, were found to be involved in, respectively, drug selling and money laundering as part of the criminal enterprise. 3 others were also implicated. 32-year-old Victoria Sked of HMP Newhall had been jailed for 3 years and 11 months after pleading guilty to drug smuggling, money laundering, and smuggling mobile phones and SIM cards into prison. 38-year-old Gareth Roberts of Manor Farm Drive in Leeds was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to drug smuggling and possession of a prohibited article. And 35-year-old Robert Williams of Brignall Garth, Leeds, pleaded guilty to drug smuggling and possession of a prohibited article. He got 1 year and 10 months in prison. Aisha Martin, by the way, of Baringgold Way of Wakefield, got 3.5 years after pleading guilty to drug smuggling, money laundering, and smuggling mobile phones and SIM cards into prison. A whole bunch of people got time for smuggling all that stuff in. Detective Constable Scott Jarvis said this investigation has spanned over half a decade with hours of phone work, forensic analysis, and financial inquiries carried out to dismantle this complex criminal network operating both inside and outside of prison. They all played their part in creating this elaborate web of drug smuggling and money laundering that they thought was intangible. And it is thanks to the hard work of this unit in bringing the conspirators of these crimes to justice. I guess there's money in mobile phones, Molly, cannabis, and a little bit of spice, huh?
Yeah, got the right customers.
That's right. Well, I guess criminals are good customers. What do you say?
They want it. They need it.
That's right.
It's like a walking mercantile.
That's right. That's right. All right. I got to ask you here. We're going to get to the food portion. Well, we kind of did get to the food portion with the pot noodle there, but we're going to get to a little bit of a food section here, both food that's yummy and food that's not so yummy.
Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna ruin my appetite?
A little bit, just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's before we get to our not safe for work part of our program, which is coming up here shortly. What do you think of Raising Cane's? Are you a fan?
I mean, it's okay. My kids love it. The line is always outrageous, so I'd rather not deal with it.
You'd rather not deal with it? See, I'm of a mind that I like it. I kind of at first when I heard a chicken fingers restaurant, I thought, what are you,
Yeah.
12? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their
But
sauce is good. We had it for Logan's graduation party. So, and it was really nice because when we ran out, because I thought I ordered enough, but I didn't, but I just door dashed it and they just brought me a bunch more.
right, right.
It was really handy.
It is handy. And it's good chicken. I hate to admit
Oh,
it.
it's good. Yeah. The
Yeah.
seasoning's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Their fries are good too. And their bread.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that bread is
Texas toast.
yeah, it's really,
Hmm.
really good. Is it good enough to commit a felony over though?
No.
No,
No.
no. Well, according to one woman, it might be a felony charge over the dipping sauce dispute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it turns out. Well, let's just imagine for a second catching a felony charge over Raising Cane's dipping sauce. I don't think it's that good. I don't think.
Yeah, Raising Cane sauce or Chick-fil-A. They're two very different flavors. Which one would you pick?
Oh, I'd catch a case over Chick-fil-A.
Oh, would you?
Yeah, especially have you had their is it honey barbecue?
Ooh.
I'm trying to remember if it's is it honey barbecue? It's like it's a mix of their. I think it's their honey barbecue. It's really good. I would, yeah, I'd shank somebody for that.
I wanted to try that. It's
Yeah.
thank-worthy.
Yeah. Oh, it's really good. It's like a baby shit mustard color, but it's really, I mean, it's a really gross color, but it tastes delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay. So evidently one woman who here has a rainbow bright
Oh,
unicorn color hair that
look at
maybe
that. She has blue hair with pink bangs, and I think she even has like pink tips and little white tips and a little roots growing out.
thank you for enunciating your P's on that, by the way. Yeah, like a 6-year-old would have, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, she's very colorful.
yeah, that's not the hairstyle for a 30-year-old, I don't think. Or is it?
I don't know. It depends on your personality. I couldn't pull it off. I'm also not 30. So.
Yeah, I don't think I could pull that off either. Investigators say what transpired Friday afternoon in Florida, of course, right?
Of course.
Yep. Where a 31-year-old woman was arrested for strong arm robbery after she became hostile both verbally and physically after fast food workers failed to include 8 sauces, count them 8, in her mobile pickup order.
Wow.
Make sure there's 8, Jess.
I mean, it's good that she counted them before she left. Usually I get all the way home and then I'm like, dang it, Chick-fil-A, you forgot a sandwich.
Well, Raising Cane's done forgot 8 sauces. So
Wow.
somebody's going to pay. According to court records, Mackenzie Keeling, our colorful Mackenzie Keeling, retrieved her grub from a Raising Cane's in Clearwater, only to later discover that she was missing 8 packs of cane sauce. Keeling returned to the restaurant and spoke to
she did get all the way home. No wonder she was pissed.
Yeah, see? Now it's time to pick up a weapon and go to work, right?
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
You're with her on that? Yeah. Keeling returned to the restaurant, spoke to a female manager who provided Keeling with the dipping sauce. So she got her sauce.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the problem?
She had to drive all the way back, Tim. That's the problem. She got all the way home and then she didn't have what she needed and she had to go all the way back. See how frustrating that is.
Well, let's see where the problem actually lied. However, the manager, Tatiana Herbert, declined Keeling's request that she be provided with extra sauces in return for wasting her time and gas.
Oh, for heaven's sake, she should have just given her the extra sauces.
You think?
Yeah, I do. Come on.
That sauce is on your bottom line, though. I mean,
I guess, but she did have to come all the way back.
that's a whole $2 right there, Jess.
True.
To
True.
the store.
$2 is $2, Tim.
Bucks is $2. After her sauce bid was refused, Keeling became hostile both verbally and physically and began yelling in the eatery, disturbing staff and customers, according to a felony criminal complaint. During her alleged tirade, Keeling shot her right hand with force. That's what it says. Shot out her right hand with force and struck Herbert in the leg. I can't even do it.
She didn't punch her. She just struck it out in force. So I'm picturing like a flat-handed
Oh, okay. So like okay. I got
leg
it.
slap.
Yeah. She then allegedly tried to tear off the victim's keys and Kane's ID from a lanyard attached to Herbert's belt.
Wow, that's aggressive.
She's going to go get it herself. Yeah. Give me those keys. I'm going back to get the sauce. The victim was in fear, cops reported, adding that the sauce imbroglio, ooh, I like the
Yes.
Yeah, the sauce imbroglio. It's the name of my new album. Was witnessed by 2 Raising Cane's employees and captured on CCTV footage. Keeling was arrested and booked into the county jail, from which she was released Saturday on how much bond, Jess, for a couple of extra sauces. I mean, just a couple of extra sauces. She wanted 8. She drove all the way back to get a couple extra sauces. How much bond do you think she had to pay for a couple of extra sauces?
I feel like it's going to be high, so I'm going with 50,000.
Whoa, no. Not for a couple of extra sauces and a slap on the rear, whatever it was, told Tatiana.
Okay, 5,000.
Not quite that much.
Really? It's really low. I feel like every time there's like a murderer, they get out on like 5,000 bond, and then someone does something stupid like this, and it's like $60,000 bond.
One more guess. Not,
Okay.
Not 5,000.
Not 5,000, so lower than that. Let's go with 3,000. 3,500.
Very close. $2,500 bond for a couple extra sauces. Her lawyer yesterday entered a not guilty plea on her behalf. Keeling's address is listed in court records as the waterfront Clearwater home that her parents purchased in 2020 for $1.2 million.
What?
She pitched a bitch about a couple of sauces, and she's living.
So she's just entitled.
She's living in a $1.2 million home, Jess.
Wow. That's a girl who's used to getting her way, Tim.
I guess. Right?
That girl's trouble.
Keeling's residence is about 10 miles from the Raising Cane's outlet where she was collared. The restaurant chain, with more than 800 U.S. franchises, is known for its chicken fingers and One Love slogan. The manager got one backhand, that's for sure. Yeah. An extra 1.5 ounce container of Cane's dipping sauce, by the way, cost 39 cents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap. She should have just given them to her.
You think?
One time they left my sandwich out at Chick-fil-A. This has happened to me multiple times. And I went back and I wasn't mad or anything. I was just like, oh, you forgot my sandwich. Here's my receipt. And I said, oh, and I forgot to order this other sandwich. And they're like, oh, just have it. So they like gave me a whole sandwich for free for my trouble.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly how many cane sauce containers goes into that bond.
It's going to be a lot.
It is exactly, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
It is exactly, according to this, 64 containers.
What? No.
Yeah, 39 cents per, no, wait, yeah, 30.
I think you forgot a decimal point.
Did I? It says
If you had to have 25,000 divided by 0.35.
5.39, right? Oh, it's 6,410. I'm sorry.
There you go. That's right. Whoa.
So 6,410 containers of sauce. She could have had 6,410 containers of sauce if she, if she would have just ponied up.
So if that's your kid
Mm-hmm.
and you have means, do you bail them out? I would not. I'd be like, you are just so stuck.
Nope. You know what I do? I tell her, you know what I do just to rub it in? I have canes delivered to the jail.
With no sauce.
With no sauce.
Just dry chicken and no sauce.
That's right. Every meal that they're there.
And just ketchup.
Yes, just ketchup. Yep. That's what I do. Just to piss her off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then love dad. Love dad. Hope you learned your lesson. Love dad. Yeah.
Enjoy your chicken and ketchup, kid.
Yeah. We used to have it a lot harder when I was young. Love dad. See you when you get out.
Yeah.
Quit being such an asshole. That's what I'd put down. That's ridiculous. Okay, now the story that's not as appetizing. Although I could put this in a way that'll make you laugh, but we're not in not safe for work territory yet. You'll find out in a minute.
Okay.
All right. This is a follow-up to a story that was reported on previously. As our incoming president would say, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. An Ohio woman who is charged with killing and eating a cat pleads guilty to animal cruelty.
Why? Not the cat. Ugh.
Well, you know what they say. She's a big fan of eating pussy there, Jess. Just saying. The Ohio woman charged with killing and eating a cat this past week pleaded guilty to animal cruelty and was sentenced to a year in jail. 27-year-old Alexis Farrell, copped to the felony charge during a hearing in Stark County's Court of Common Pleas. Farrell was arrested in late August of this past year after she killed the animal by stomping its head, then eating the cat on the grounds of the Canton Public Housing Complex where she resided. Farrell has been locked up in the county jail on a $100,000 bond since the incident. So she wasn't getting out.
Yeah. That's mean.
Yeah. Police responding to a 911 call found Farrell squatting next to the dead feline. She had blood on her feet and hands and fur on her lips.
Oh my gosh, she just ate it raw.
Yeah.
In my brain, I was envisioning her cooking it up with a little rice or, noodles or something on the side. And she just was straight up just.
You're imagining scallions and greens and a presentation, if you will. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Like old dirty bastard. Oh, baby, she likes it raw.
Oh, she just got in there.
Yeah. The pet's owner has not been identified and probably wouldn't come forward after that whole scene, I'm guessing.
No, that'd be so traumatizing.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't buy another pet after that. I think I tap out after that. I'm done.
Can you imagine? I mean, even your chipmunks, if someone came up and stomped on their head and then ate it in front of you. What would you do?
Well, if they did that in front of me, I'd probably lose my mind and kill them.
I would body slam them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't have much patience at that point. Yeah.
Can't imagine your little sweet little fur babies.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm guessing the owner of this pet was not around.
No, she had to have been on something. You don't just eat raw cat.
Yeah. The cop asked Farrell, "Did you eat that cat?"
Questions he never thought he'd have to ask.
Yeah, for 500, Alex, right? This, according to the body cam footage, Why'd you kill it? Farrell remained mute as the officer contacted dispatch and asked, will you call the Humane Society to see if they'll come pick this cat up? It's deceased. That's what the cop asked dispatch. Farrell's case received national news coverage after some Donald Trump supporters pointed to the incident in light of the president-elect's claims that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, were eating cats and dogs owned by local residents. This was the case that spurred that on.
Oh, okay.
Canton is about 175 miles from Springfield. Farrell is not of Haitian descent, by the way, was born in the U.S. Farrell's plea came from a competency hearing and had been rescheduled for today. It does not appear that the review occurred, although a judge has signed an order in October releasing her medical records. Ohio court records show that Farrell, at the time of her August arrest, was on probation for a 2023 felony conviction for child endangerment. Boy, there's some that are going to need some therapy.
Yeah.
Her rap sheet also includes multiple theft convictions. So there you go. All right. A little bit lighter story to report on. We'll get away from that one.
Yeah, please.
There have been some bear attacks recently in northern Japan.
Oh, that's scary.
And it turns out that the DJ police have been called in to prevent these bear attacks.
The DJ police?
I know.
Like the people that change the records and like,
yeah, like wicca.
Yeah.
DJ police.
Okay.
This is how crazy and zany they get in Japan.
I love it. I want to go there.
I don't know if bears respond well to disco or not. I don't know what their deal is, but maybe
they just attack them with a record. Like throw records at them.
and then,
like boomerangs.
I don't think it gets that gory, but now it'd be CDs. Not even CDs.
True.
It'd be hard drives. They'd probably throw hard drives at them. I don't know.
Weird.
No, the headline here is last night a DJ saved my life from a bear.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
As if we don't have enough problems these days, bears have been increasingly encroaching on inhabited areas, causing injuries, damage, and general terror among residents. This is especially true in the more rural parts of Japan, where a dwindling population has made bears bolder in their search for food. Even Akita City, the capital and the most populated city in Akita Prefecture, it's easy for me to say, they're concerned with bear encounters and has enlisted the help of their grooviest division, the DJ police. The DJ police.
That's crazy.
I just get so happy thinking about that. DJ police is unofficially the adopted name for members of crowd control units across Japan who often stand in boxes on top of riot cars and speak to crowds through megaphones. It's not as cool as I thought it was. Thought maybe they had like little turntables.
Yeah, but megaphones are cool.
Wave your hands in the air and wave them like
you just don't care.
And if you're a bear with a paw like this, to I don't know. I don't know the name for that. Part of the reason for the name, which is used by the police themselves, they even call themselves the DJ police, is that these cops resemble DJs in their booths standing over crowds during festive events, like after a major victory in sports or Halloween and Shibuya before it got canceled. They actually canceled Halloween in Shibuya.
Oh, sad.
It is.
Because of bears.
I don't think it's because of the bears. I think they're just party poopers. The other reason is that some of these officers tend to embrace the festive spirit of the events they monitor and conduct people in a more friendly manner than the cops tend to be known for. One of the earliest examples of this was when Japan qualified for the World Cup in 2013. A celebration broke out in the streets of Shibuya, and the DJ police officer on duty told the crowd lines such things as, "We're all teammates here, so listen to your teammates." And all those serious-looking cops out there aren't doing this because they hate you. They're celebrating too, in their hearts.
Oh, celebrating in their hearts.
Oh,
I like that.
oh, celebrating in their hearts. Oh, that's adorable. Strictly speaking, I suppose this makes them more like the MC police because they don't have any turntables in them. They do have a microphone, but no turntable. But this departure from boilerplate announcements and warnings both helped keep things relaxed in the streets and likely caught people's attention better so that they actually listened to what was being said. Not all DJ police have the gift of gab, but some pride themselves on their ability to work a crowd. You may say, how does this keep the bears away, Tim? I know.
Yes, indeed. How, Tim?
That was very creepy, Jess. You're like, yes, how, Tim?
How, Tim?
A news report shows a DJ police officer speaking English. I'm not going to play it for you. It's just a DJ police saying, never kick the deer. And then there's deer running through the street. It's quite comical. Their smooth delivery is never lost in translation, but the person who wrote the article finds it funny that they tell people to never touch the deer after telling him to never kick the deer. It's either unintentional or he's some sort of Andy Kaufman type DJ policing. I'll tell you what, I'll post this article so you can watch it for yourself, how the DJ police work. They're kind of fun.
I'd like to see. Yeah.
Yeah. On the 5th of November, the DJ police out of Akita Rinko police station set up in front of the J.R. Tsuchizaki station and told passerbys to be careful when going out at night, to keep the entrances to storage sheds and garages closed, and to not leave strong smelling garbage outside. That's how they kept people safe from bears, by the way.
Very smart. That's all good advice.
Yeah. Now, hopefully this will reduce the number of bear attacks in the area. If not, they may have to resort to actually driving around and playing electronic dance music to keep the bears away. So.
That might work. Or they could use Baby Shark. Would that work for bears? Like it did to the homeless people?
Little Baby Shark. That'll keep the bears away. Yeah. Baby Shark.
No, Tim.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to do that. All right. It's time now for our Not Safe for Work portion of the program. Of course, now is the time in the program where you put all your bears away in the shed or whatever it is you do so that they can't hear these stories. You also want to keep it away from your boss, so you probably want to put your earbuds in. Same with the kids. Probably put the kids in the shed along with the bears, and hopefully they won't get eaten. So here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Police arrested 2 men posing as construction workers attempting to enter Kyle Field for the A&M Texas game this past weekend. But you're not going to believe how they tried to do it.
Oh.
Well, Jess, here's the deal. We all need IDs.
Okay.
Right?
Unless you're flying Delta. Yes.
Unless you're flying Delta, then you just get on board, right? Well, you won't believe the names that the 2 men were going by when they tried to enter Kyle Field on Saturday night. We go to College Station, Texas, where in a story seemingly straight out of a cartoon episode, 2 men were arrested for attempting to enter Kyle Field on the day of the 2024 Lone Star Showdown without tickets. The catch? The way they were trying to get into the stadium. According to the Texas A&M Police Department, the 2 tried to go in posing as construction workers in reflective vests and hard hats. Yes, they went Village People on the bid. However, the kicker is the people that they were posing as. According to arrest affidavits, the day after the game, the 2 men had pictures of themselves as ID photos. Their names that they had displayed on the ID photos, Jess.
Yeah.
Harry Ascrack and Duncan McCockiner.
That's so Bart Simpson of them.
Isn't it?
I love it.
You can actually cue the snickering and chuckles now. Well, obviously not their real names. Get out of here, really?
What?
Yep. Both men were booked into the Brazos County Jail for criminal trespass the day of the incident and were released the day after, according to county jail records. That wasn't the only highlight of the evening from Tamu PD, as other tweets from the game garnered millions of views on X. Some highlights include a man riding a longhorn on campus with his dog agreeing to leave campus after police informed the individual that he was committing a university rules violation, an individual with a fake ticket being ejected, and arguably the most horrid of all, an intoxicated individual being released to sober wife.
Oh, that's going to be a bad ride home, Tim.
Yeah, it is. This isn't even the first time that an individual has been ejected for being drunk and released to sober wife this season. Yes, it's happened more than once.
I can imagine. It probably happens every game.
Probably. What hasn't changed, however, are the replies begging police to have instead taken the man to jail so he wouldn't have to face the possible wrath of a sober wife. Sober wife? Just arrest this man. He's going to be in trouble, one person said. That's worse than prison, another commenter said. A moment of silence for our fallen brother, said another. The theme continues of commenters grieving for the horror of the reality of being released to sober wife. People really don't like the fact that he was released to sober wife. This man's Eighth Amendment rights were violated here, said another commenter. I'd rather be sent to jail than to my sober wife, said one man. Praying for him, said another. Agreed. Godspeed to him and shout out to the sober wife. There you go.
All sober wives unite.
That's right. Sober wives unite and get your man off the longhorn, so to speak. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why he left the sober wife. He wanted a little.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that comment, Tim.
Yeah. Just saying. All right, time to get a little more serious on this one. A North Texas minister was charged with child pornography possession, according to police. Investigation into the 38-year-old man began when a missionary couple reported finding spy cameras inside their mobile home. Yikes. We go to Grapevine, Texas. Yicky, yes. Yeah. An associate minister in Grapevine has been arrested by police who are accusing him of possessing child pornography and using spy cameras in a home, according to officials. Arturo Alarcon, the 38-year-old associate minister at 121 Community Church in Grapevine, was charged with possession of child pornography and invasive visual recording, according to police. Investigation began, police say, when a missionary couple reported finding spy cameras inside their mobile home, which is used by the church to house families in need. Oh, that is slimy. According to the arrest affidavit, the family staying there found 2 alarm clocks and 2 wall plugs labeled bug control, containing hidden cameras inside the devices. Another associate minister with the church, Elvis Gallegos, reportedly told police these items weren't provided by the church and he wasn't sure who put them there or how long they had been there. The husband, staying inside the home, kept hearing a noise coming from the clock in his bedroom, so he turned it off. The affidavit states, being an engineer, he took a closer look at the clock and noticed what appeared to be a camera inside. He was able to search Amazon and find the same clock, which showed to be a spy camera. After examining the camera, the affidavit said the husband noticed when he pressed the record button, a clicking sound was made. He said that's when he knew he was being recorded. Police contacted Alarcon, the affidavit detailed, who told police he knew of the items in the trailer, but that they were donated and not bought by him. According to the affidavit, police searched Alarcon's phone and found a photo from a spy camera placed in an underage relative of Alarcon's bedroom. When searching the phone, they also reportedly found a photo of a young girl around the age of 5 standing in front of an erect penis. Yikes.
What? Oh.
Yes. The affidavit details that a detective sending the phone to the Secret Service to unlock a second user account on Alarcon's phone that is encrypted. When asked by police, Alarcon reportedly told them he didn't know about it because he didn't set it up. It wasn't sure who did. When shown the photo of child pornography, the affidavit stated Alarcon said he didn't, or said he had never seen it. In addition to his work as an associate minister, police say Alarcon volunteered with the Grapevine Community Outreach Center, as well as its after-school program. It was also a substitute teacher with Grapevine Colleyville Independent School District. Grapevine ISD sent out the following statement to families and staff. Unfortunately, we must share with you the following information with the Grapevine Police Department. Arturo Alarcon has previously substituted at Timberline Elementary and his status as a substitute teacher was immediately terminated upon the district's notification of the arrest. The district remains in close contact with the Grapevine Police Department and will provide more information to our community if any evidence reveals any additional connection to the school district. Police say they are analyzing several electronics in Alarcon's possession and that there is no evidence of any additional crimes at this time. Yikes.
Heck. Oh, he had so much access to children.
Yeah, yeah. Very sad indeed. All right, we move on. Our next story. Okay, we have a couple of naked stories coming up here.
Okay.
First of all, things you shouldn't do while naked, I guess, is what we should.
Oh, okay. Solid advice. I can't wait to hear it.
Solid advice coming up. Next couple of stories. First one has to do with a naked man who was tasered while trying to hijack an Uber.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to hijack anything while you're nude.
Right, right. You probably want to, especially since you don't have pockets. I guess that's probably a solid advice there. A man trying to hijack a car naked is not a sight that many people behold every day, but footage shown on social media shows 23-year-old Huey Clark doing just that at a party spot in Perth, Western Australia. I'm getting a visual image. I don't know that I want in my head. It shows Clark running up to what is believed to be an Uber car and attempting to jump inside. But quick-witted police officers are at the scene. Oh, that's bad luck right there. And they try to heave the man out of the vehicle as they taser him.
Oh, you want to be a police officer who has to manhandle a naked guy.
And taser him at the same time.
Yeah.
That's coordination. Heave, ho.
Yep.
You know?
Like a dance.
It is like a dance, a very coordinated one at that. It's not the Nutcracker Suite. It could be.
It could be. Yeah, you don't know.
You never know. He manages to put up a good fight, and even members of the public have to get involved to try and get him out. Clark is also seen waving and thrusting out of frustration at police officers and anger, so they decide to taser him a second time on the pavement.
Thrusting in anger. That's you were thrusted in anger.
Waving and thrusting. I just see this. I don't know why, but I do.
Never have I ever thrusted in anger.
No, kind of a picture of him running around naked. I don't know what waving and thrusting is, though.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Just naked as a jaybird.
Naked as a jaybird, waving and thrusting. He sticks his tongue out at other people passing by who witnessed the scene unfolding. Clark was taken into custody where he was charged with 1 count each of disorderly behavior in a public place, obstructing police officers, assault of a public officer, and attempting to steal a motor vehicle. Wow, waving and thrusting. Can you add that to the charges? Is that a thing?
Is that illegal? It should be.
It should be, yeah. While waving and thrusting and waving, I guess. That part throws me off. I don't know. All right, second thing you shouldn't do while naked. It's a theme this week.
Right.
Let's see. Second thing you shouldn't do while naked this week involves a restaurant.
Oh.
Now, normally you would think, oh, naked dining. That sounds like it could be pleasant, right? I mean,
no, it doesn't, but okay.
No, naked dining is
I don't
not.
want to dine naked in a restaurant.
No, I mean, they have naked resorts, right? I mean,
yeah.
I actually saw
into that sort of thing.
Quite disturbing last week as I was pulling stories. Naked cruises.
Oh. I really don't want to be naked where other people are naked and sitting on the same thing that I'm sitting on. Like, I think it's nasty enough to share a toilet with people, but like a booth or a chair that someone was just naked on, it's a hard pass.
Well, this was like a swingers cruise. So it was like
so
it's like you're trapped with 2,500 people on a boat in the middle of the sea. You can't go anywhere.
Huh. Is that where they like have the fishbowl and everybody throws their room key in and you pick out a key? And
they have that deal like in the like in part of the ship, like they've got the light play part of the ship, and then they've got the heavier play, like the red ship, right?
Like the adult Disney cruise,
I guess, right? But it's
Sounds awful.
but you can't get out, right? So if you do this, if you do the timeout thing, like I'm out, you people are all too weird for me. You can't get off
You
there.
would just find me floating on a little inflatable raft.
They'd have to put me in the dinghy on the and I just have to ride aside the ship. 'Cause I'd be like, you people are all too weird for me. I just can't take this anymore.
I wouldn't be able to stop laughing. I'm sorry, but
Right.
naked butts and
Yeah.
I mean, I just would, butts are funny. When they're naked, I would just be laughing so hard.
Jess would just be like walking around laughing at butts.
Oh,
Anyway, restaurant. That's where we were going.
yes. Oh, yes.
An Ellington man was arrested after walking around naked in a Tolland restaurant. Who walks around a restaurant naked?
No, not this girl.
No, I mean, if you're a guy and you're walking around naked in a restaurant, is it? You see that meat on your plate? Here's some meat right here.
Yeah, that's some confidence right there.
And it is really. We go to Tolland, where a man who police said walked around a restaurant naked, while people, including children, ate dinner on Friday, is due in court next week. What do you?
They're just trying to eat their chicken fingers and French fries, and they're just a ding dong walking past.
Mommy, I don't want to eat my wiener anymore. I don't. Why?
Why?
Yeah. Why? Now my story's frozen up because I've said that. It was just like, no, bad, no, bad, Tim, bad. Yeah, the name of the restaurant is Papa T's.
Papa T's.
I know this guy was popping something. I'm just saying it. Popping a rod. And now the story is just ultimately frozen. I think we've pretty much gotten down to
Just doesn't want us to know anymore. It's gross. Don't do it. It's bad.
I think that's the moral of the story, isn't it, Jess?
That's it.
Moral of the story is just,
I'm sure he got arrested.
yeah, just don't whip your Danish out in the middle of a restaurant. That's the story here.
Yep. If you want to eat in the nude, you got to do it at home.
Ooh. Or cook. Yeah. Especially bacon.
Oh, can you imagine? Anything that has grease involved.
Yeah. We're in April,
No.
at least.
Yeah, I was frying up some kale this morning and it was like jumping at me. It was hilarious. Like it jumped up in the air, like it was attacking me. Can you imagine if you were naked and it was just like jumping all over your nudity?
Frying kale?
It was frying kale, yes.
Really? What does fried
With
kale
eggs.
taste like?
It's good with a little olive oil and a little egg with it and get your protein and your greens. Yeah. And I love it with a little avocado seasoning on top. Like you can buy like the pre-mixed seasoning to go in your guacamole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put that on top of it. It's delicious
Huh. Okay.
and healthy.
It sounds very healthy. Sounds like something I've never tried before. It sounds very healthy. Just saying. Well, evidently the people who own the story don't want us to read it. No, just 42-year-old Andrew F. Kinghorn. So this man has a kinghorn and he's proud of it.
I guess.
It's the man who was out there and he was just showing off his kinghorn. By the way, he posted $20,000 bond. He's scheduled to appear in State Superior Court in Rockville on December 11th. But 2 counts.
What a weirdo.
Risk of injury. Risk of injury to himself.
Risk of injury.
I don't know who he's.
Like he was gonna trip and fall on his wanker.
I don't know. I mean, the only injury is, accidentally putting it in a hot dog bun. I have no idea what what injury? I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah. Is it more dangerous when it's just swinging around out there
I think
as opposed to like being safely sheltered in a pair of underpants?
That's giving him a lot of credit. I mean,
I feel like he has to have something to be quite proud of, or he wouldn't just be walking around totally naked.
right. I mean, it's just, Some guys over exaggerate. I think that guy probably over exaggerating.
Maybe. I mean, but if it was like, like that, he probably would be like, I'm just going to keep my clothes on, you know?
Like what? Like
Like
how big?
that big, like little. He wouldn't be showing that off.
I love for the audience that's listening at home. Jess holds up her pinky. She goes like that. Oh, dear God. All right. We'll get back to our stories here in just a second as I have to reboot my, evidently that story broke my iPad.
It did. I don't blame your iPad for rebelling against it.
It just went wiener in a restaurant? No.
And children?
And children? No. And then the FBI shut down my iPad. It just
You are so being investigated right now, Tim.
Yeah, I am. Between the grapevine story of the pastor and kids in a restaurant.
Oh,
The guy
man.
and the waiter hanging out.
The FBI looked at our search engines and all of our histories on our computers, they would be like, these people are doing bad, bad things.
Yeah, they just said, "Fuck you, dude, for real. I don't care what you do for a living. There's just no excuse here, for real. Just telling you." All right.
What we do for you guys.
What we do for you guys. What we let you get away with on a weekly basis. Just beyond me. Telling you. Let's see here. Gonna get my stories back up here. That's what she said. What? All right. Our next story. Again, with the naked. A naked teacher is arrested with weed and sex toys at an elementary school after fighting first responders.
Oh my.
This is the ultimate in Florida.
And there's so many children involved in all of these stories.
I know. I don't pick them, Jess. I just read them, right? I mean, I don't pick what these people do with their lives.
No.
I don't.
You just have to share the news, Tim. It's not your fault.
I know. I just read the stories. A Florida man was arrested and charged with lewd and lascivious behavior after police found him naked in an elementary school classroom, allegedly with an array of sex toys and marijuana.
How did he land there?
What's that?
How did he end up in an elementary school with all of this in this state?
Oh, I'm about to tell you.
Oh,
by the way, he's pretty much covered the loser bingo card.
Yes.
Yeah, he's hit them all. Yeah. According to the arrest affidavit obtained by Law and Crime, police responded to calls made on November 28th. That's right. Thanksgiving, concerning a white male who was naked in one of the classrooms at Windmill Point Elementary School in Port St. Lucie, Florida. When officers arrived at the scene, the man reportedly quickly clothed himself and started to run away. Police caught up to him, but the man, eventually identified as Joe Franklin Urias, 34 years old, put up a fight that resulted in one officer getting punched in the face. If you're an officer of the law, a proud officer of the law, and you get punched in the face by a naked man, does that take you down a notch, or are you still a proud officer of the law at that point?
I think you're still proud.
Okay.
That's not your shame. It's that guy's shame.
That's right. After gaining control of Urias, backup arrived and the suspect was taken into custody. Police soon learned that Urias works as a teacher at another school in the area. That school, Somerset College Preparatory Academy. That's right. He gets kids ready for college. Jeff.
Oh, I'm concerned for our children.
Mm-hmm. Urias reportedly told police that he was currently homeless and broke into the school through an unlocked window. Officers found some of his personal items in the classroom where he was initially spotted. Among them were several self-pleasuring devices or sex toys and women's underwear because you got to keep warm in the classroom somehow. Urias was also found carrying a leafy green substance in a clear plastic container. And no, it wasn't his kale. It was marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah. Urias was charged with burglary, possession of marijuana, less than 20 grams, and battery of an officer. He was also charged with lewd, lascivious behavior As the affidavit stated, he was naked and running around the school without clothes on and found with sex toys. After Urias's Thanksgiving night arrest, Somerset College Preparatory Academy posted a statement on Facebook acknowledging allegations unrelated to our school against an individual formerly employed at our school. Because guess what? Not only is he homeless, now he's jobless.
Yep, that'll do it.
We want to emphasize that the safety and well-being of our students and community are our top priority. The school statement continued. As part of our commitment to maintaining a safe environment, all prospective employees at our school undergo a thorough background check and screening conducted by the local school district. We do not hire anyone without this clearance. Well, what do? Do you put sex toys and underwear out in front of them, fire up a joint and say, hey, does any of this appeal to you? Evidently not.
No. Wow. Can you imagine? What would you think as one of his students? I assume that's like high school level kids, a college preparatory school. You already think your teachers are weird.
Right. But now you know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that guy is extra weird.
What did he go? Oh, the turkey's kicking in. You know what I could go for? Raiding a fellow school and just totally hanging out in some women's underwear and firing up a joint. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know, banging my back door with a dildo. What got into him?
Oh, too much gravy.
Too much gravy. That's right, Jess. Maybe a little too much pumpkin pie.
Too much something, Tim. I don't know what it was, but
well, I know what is getting into him because right now he's currently being held in the St. Lucie County Jail on $31,000 bond. It's probably an inmate. That's what's getting into him. Just saying.
probably making friends.
He is making friends. All right, we need a palate cleanser after that one.
Yes, please.
Here it is. A New York woman is blaming Star Trek license plates for tens of thousands of dollars in accidental tickets.
Cool.
Yeah. No, it's innocent enough. We go to Huntington, New York, where a Long Island retiree says she's getting traffic tickets from all over the country. But the thing is, she stopped driving 4 years ago.
Oh, huh?
Yeah. So how is this happening, you may ask? Well, Beta Khoury's love of Star Trek may be at the root of it all. That's right. If you're a Star Trek fan, you're in a heap of trouble. These came from yesterday from Chicago. Speeding tickets. They're $100 each, Beta Khoury said. Back in 2020, the Huntington resident surrendered her license plates, sold her car, and stopped driving. I don't have a car. I don't drive. Those plates were turned in, the 76-year-old said. Yet many walks to her mailbox bring the retiree unwanted surprises. They are persistent and they keep sending me tickets, Khoury said. Her old custom plates honored Star Trek and had the same number as the Starship Enterprise, NCC 1701.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. However, for $15 on Amazon and eBay, some Trekkies have been easily replacing their real plates with the same novelty plates and getting away with it. Their accrued tickets from all over the country are being mailed to Khoury. Red lights, speeding, parking, and school zones, she said, describing the types of tickets she receives. She also gets hit with Easy Pass trolls.
Oh, gosh.
Or rather, tolls, not trolls. She gets hit by trolls with tolls. There you go. I got a phone call from Ohio, a police chief looking for plates because they were involved in a robbery, Khoury said. The whole country has my name and address for tickets I don't even owe. The New York Department of Motor Vehicles says novelty plates being used illegally on the roads is a matter of, or for law enforcement, and nothing in its system connects Khoury to her former plate. The DMV also said that it's up to each state and billing entity to make sure it is utilizing the most up-to-date New York DMV data. For instance, she doesn't drive a motorcycle, yet has received a ticket. I've run out of ink. I've run out of stamps, Khoury said, of trying to answer every summons. Khoury has hearing and sight issues as well. It all comes back to me, so the whole country has my name and address for tickets I don't even owe, she said. She said the reason for her tears of frustration is because she has been billed tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, because I can't afford it. I'm on a fixed income, Khoury said. In the days since CBS News New York story aired, several lawmakers have pledged to help Khoury. and a pro bono attorney met with her Friday to help her resolve the complicated issue. So hopefully Miss Corey is in the clear soon.
I hope so.
So all of
She's
you,
a cool lady.
that's right. So all of you using the NCC 1701 vanity plate, stop it! There's a poor old lady who's getting billed for your shenanigans. So there you go. That's all.
Excellent. That's a good show, Tim. That was a good one.
Yeah, not too shabby. A reminder, The Man in the White Van comes out Friday, December 13th. That's the name of the movie that our guest, who was on earlier today, is the writer and director of. It stars Ali Larter and Sean Astin. It's a darn good movie. It has to do with a real life serial killer in Florida in the 70s. So it's out at AMC theaters out there. We have a link in the description of this program, so I want you to go check that out. Tomorrow, Supernatural News. So there's that. And then Thursday, we got us a good old-fashioned ghost story.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah. So there you go. That's this week. This week in a nutshell. We're coming up on the holidays too. So we've got some extra special programming coming up for the holidays. And yes, we'll have all new programming for the holidays as well. So I know a lot of people are alone on the holidays. It's kind of tough. And you get a lot of repeats on the holidays on TV and there's even some podcasters that try and get away with it. Not us.
Nope. We're hardcore.
We're hardcore. We got all new programming for the holidays. So you got something to open gifts to, and you got something to sip your champagne on New Year's Eve too. So there you go.
That's right.
Yep. So that's it, and that's it. That's it. That's it, and that's it for today. Nosferatu is out on Christmas Day. A reminder for that as well. We didn't tell you that as well. Nosferatu is out on Christmas Day, so look for that in theaters. So good movie.
Highly recommend. It's a good one.
Yes, that as well. Jess, what's going on in your world?
Well, we have our Palmer House event coming up. That's a manifestation weekend and mindfulness and art and writing and a ghost hunt and all that fun stuff. That's the first weekend in January with my Ghost Stories Inc. group. And I do want to give you guys 30% off. So the code is darkness30.
Whoa!
Yeah, because I love you.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we'll have a link in the description of this program. I'm blown away. I can't even talk.
I just want to see you there.
Yeah. All right. So go get your tickets right now. They make great holiday gifts.
Absolutely. And our events are really friendly for people like 13 and over, I always say. Like if you have a 12-year-old who's really mature and into this stuff, you could message me and talk to me about it. But I usually say 13 and up. And my girls will be there, and there will be some other teenagers and young adults who are there as well. So it'll be a fun weekend.
Nice. All right. Well, you heard Jess. Go sign up. Get your tickets. They're going to go quick. So there you go. There you go. Beginning of January. It's the first weekend in January, right?
Yeah, it's the very first weekend. And there's a costume ball. We're doing like a live band again, like we did last time. That was so fun. And it's any era you want to dress up in. So, I was looking at like kind of a gothic dress. Scary.
Really?
I can't decide. I don't want to be a flapper again. I got to be something different.
Yeah. Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Check it out. We'll have the link in the description of this program. Ghost Stories Inc. weekend there, first weekend at the Palmer. So, all right, go get it, folks. Darkness30 is the code. Wow, I'm impressed. Look at that. I don't impress easy. I'm impressed. So there you go.
I'm here to impress you, Tim.
I guess. Yes, you have. All right, folks, that'll do it for today. Remember, Supernatural News tomorrow on the big program. So we'll see you tomorrow on Darkness Radio. And thank you so much for tuning in today. For Jessica Freeburg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening and watching the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.
For more True Crime Tuesday audio and video archives, intriguing content, and cool swag, please visit darknessradioshow.com. Thank you for watching. Please join us tomorrow for Supernatural News with Mally Fox.